Shades of light and dark blue, a light blue base to the shirt, which is heavily patterned. A close-up image of the manager Antonio Conte, as Kelly Cates was saying, one of those to make the journey to Buckingham Palace ahead of this game to pay his respects to Queen Elizabeth II. So the minute's silence has been and gone, and we are getting ready to kick off here on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app in Lisbon. This is Sporting against Tottenham, match day 2 in Group D of the Champions League. We have Liverpool against Ajax, full commentary on the way at 8 o'clock this evening. But we are underway in Lisbon, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has very nearly given the ball away to Francisco Trincao. Sporting are playing in their familiar home kits. Those are green and white hoops, so there's a fair bit of Celtic about them. Black shorts, the hooped green and white socks. And Tottenham, as I say, in change kit in blue, and Sporting have the ball inside their own half, and Richarlison quickly into the action for Tottenham to try and win it back. A little bit scrappy inside the Sporting half. Bentancur gets it for Tottenham, plays it wide to the left. Perisic takes his man on, can't beat him, but does win the throw. That is Pedro Porro, the Spaniard, who makes the tackle. And we get the first look at the 37-year-old Sporting coach Ruben Amorim, who won the title with Sporting in his first full season in charge. Former Benfica midfielder and Portuguese international. High ball into the Sporting penalty area. Is headed away by the Japanese Morita. Tottenham onto it, attacking down the left-hand side. And Son Heung-min crosses block Leon Osman and wins Tottenham the first corner of the game.
Yeah, Tottenham started quite well in this game. You know, both teams, right from the initial kickoff, have decided to press each other. Sporting right onto the toes of Højbjerg, nearly winning the ball off him inside 10 seconds. But from that moment, Spurs have pushed Sporting all the way back to force this corner.
Gone short with the corner. Son plays a little 1-2 with Højbjerg. The ball is curled back towards Emerson Royal. Bentancur, low curling pass out to the left. Højbjerg again in the left wing position. Finds Perisic with a little back heel. Perisic cross deflected. I think Tottenham have won themselves another corner. So a good start by Antonio Conte's team. Have never played Sporting in European competition. Have never played in this stadium in a competitive fixture. Manchester City were here, you'll probably remember, in the Champions League last season, and in the first leg had a thumping 5-0 win. It finished 0-0 at the Etihad, and Manchester City went through. So second early corner for Tottenham. Bit of push and shove in the penalty area. Ben Davies is involved. Son kills it in, good delivery into the near post. Sporting get bodies in the way to try and clear the ball. Edwards, the Enfield lad, gets his first touch, knocks it back into his area. It's cleared down the right-hand side. Sporting think they have a throw, and the fans' reaction tells you that the decision hasn't gone their way.
Yeah, it was a brilliant delivery by Son. And all the whip and pace on the ball that you'd want, and it just went inches over the head of Eric Dyer at the front post, and none of the Spurs players could react quickly enough, and Sporting were very fortunate just to scrappily hook it away.
Richarlison almost sliding a pass through to Son. Sporting bring the ball away. Hefty challenge on Porro in central midfield from Perisic. So free kick conceded, 3 minutes played. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. One other 5:45 kickoff in the Champions League this evening, and that is one of Antonio Conte's former clubs, Inter. They are away to the Czech team Victoria Pilsen. So we will keep you up to date with what's going on in that game. Full commentary on Liverpool Ajax, as I say, later on tonight. Sporting throw back into the left pack position for the Brazilian Mateus Reis. Plays it back to the goalkeeper Adan. Ball across his own penalty area. They've given it away. This is where Tottenham are oh so dangerous. Son lays the ball back to the edge of the box. Bentancur, looking for his first ever goal for Tottenham, has hit that shot well. It's blocked on the edge of the penalty area, and it has completely taken the wind out of the young centre-back Gonçalo Inácio, who is down. So the referee has stopped the play. Hit that well, Bentancur.
He hit it very well, and it was fortunate for Sporting that Inácio threw himself in front of it, and you're right, it just seemed to hit him in the gut, maybe knock the stuffing out of the young man. But again, you know, we're still talking, we've not seen the ball inside the Spurs half as yet. Spurs are pressing, they're forcing Sporting back. They've just won the ball just on the edge of the Sporting Lisbon penalty area. Heung-min Son couldn't find the opportunity to get the shot away, set up Bentancur, but a really good block.
Should mention as well the Tottenham players, staff, manager Antonio Conte wearing the black armbands in memory of the Queen. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Inacio, the 21-year-old, is back on his feet. One of the Sporting staff has a handy water bottle on hand, takes a slug of that, spits most of it out, still feeling the after effects of blocking the shot. We're going to get a drop ball inside the Sporting half, wide on the left-hand side, drop to Nuno Santos, who is the one change for Sporting this evening. They've come back to the goalkeeper, Antonio Adan, but the first 5 minutes have very much belonged to Tottenham in terms of possession of the football and threat on offer. Pedro Gonçalves, another former Wolves player in this Sporting team, wins it for Sporting. Inside his own half is Morita. He goes for the diagonal ball away to the right-hand side. Perisic is back there, leaps in the air and nods the ball back to his goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris. Bowls it out with his right arm to Christian Romero, who's back on the right side of the Tottenham defence after missing 3 games with injury. So Davinson Sanchez back on the bench for Tottenham. Ben Davies into the side tonight, gets the ball, plays it to Eric Dyer. We mentioned Marcus Edwards' links with Tottenham. The man keeping an eye on him, Eric Dyer, of course. Tottenham got from Sporting, moved to Lisbon as a very young man. Eric Dyer came through the ranks at Sporting, still maintains good connections with the club, and here he is back in Lisbon playing against them in the Champions League. Sporting throw, giant figure of Coates, the Sporting captain, playing out from the back. Down the right-hand side it goes. Ben Davies is there, quickly forward to Son. Lovely first-time layoff to Kane, tries to turn it round the corner to Højbjerg, who was making the run from midfield. Sporting intercept, and here is Marcus Edwards. Now this is Edwards against Dyer. Edwards has the ball at his feet, lays it off to his left-hand side. Weak shot comes in, but Lloris has to scramble across to his left and tip it behind for a Sporting corner, and that is the danger that Sporting possess, just like Tottenham, Leon, on the counter. Yeah, it is, and actually Tottenham pressed Sporting there and won the ball back and then gave it away sloppily, and just in that moment they just opened themselves up, exposed themselves, and they are the moments that Sporting are waiting for, and they got forward so quickly, and Hugo Lloris at full stretch had to make a really good save there. You mentioned it was a slightly weak shot, but it did go through legs, and he had to keep his eye on it. Corner will be taken by the little figure of Marcus Edwards, and Hugo Lloris out to the edge of his 6-yard box, catches it in both hands. Gonçalves, the one with the shot, joined Wolves as a 19-year-old back in 2017, initially when Wolves were in the Championship under Nuno Espirito Santo. Didn't make an impression on the first team there, but has become a real player at Sporting. 38 goals over the last couple of seasons, 4 goals and 3 assists in the league campaign already this season. So Tottenham got a little warning of the danger that he can bring, Lloris making the save. The ball is back down in the Sporting penalty area. Adan, Sporting's keeper, with his bright yellow goalkeeping shirt loosely untucked. Sporting, loose pass out from the right back position, blocked by Perisic, goes out for a throw-in to the home team. Porro steals a few yards down the right-hand touchline, spots an extra ball on the pitch, so runs forward to deal with that, and gets ready to take this throw. Still Victoria Pilsen 0, Inter Milan 0. Early stages of that one in the Champions League. That's in Group C. The other game in that group this evening is quite a tasty one. Bayern Munich against Barcelona. Bayern having beaten Inter, and Barcelona having beaten Victoria Pilsen in their first group game last week. Sporting inside their own half, come back to the goalkeeper again, Adan. Tottenham's front 3 spread across the pitch, just hold off for a minute. Now Richarlison goes forward to put Mateusz Reis under a little bit of pressure, continues the chase onto the goalkeeper. He plays it across to Inacio. Here's Porro in that right wing back position. Sporting trying to work it through the middle of the pitch. Tottenham have won it back with Bentancur. Højbjerg stabs a little ball with his right foot to Perisic, and Perisic back down the left-hand side, and Tottenham back into their own half. Leon Osman. Well, the message is quite clear from Antonio Conte. He wants his side to press. You know, it's one thing in the front 3 are going to press as a unit, but the wing-backs are up so quickly behind it, and Bentancur and Højbjerg are prepared to step all the way in
and go as far forward as Harry Kane in the press that Spurs are operating. That's leaving big spaces, and they're trusting the back three to step in and take the ball if it comes, but it's been impressive so far.
This is Antonio Conte's sixth crack at the Champions League. Best he's ever done was actually his first ever go at it with his Juventus team 2012-2013. Made it all the way through to the quarter-finals before they were beaten by Bayern Munich. And Tottenham as a club, seventh campaign in the European Cup, sixth in the Champions League. I think an offside flag has gone up there against Ben Davies, who was trying to play a little 1-2 down the left with Ivan Perisic, but again showing the ambition, Leon.
Yeah, again winning the ball back and then moving it quickly, and then you've got Ben Davies, who is the left centre-back, not prepared to stay in that natural position, overlapping Perisic, who's the wing-back on that side, those two trying to link up, and then that releases Son to join Harry Kane and pick a more of a goal threat of a position inside that penalty area. So Spurs have started very confidently in this game, and I'm sure Antonio Conte is pleased with that.
Adan, Sporting's goalkeeper, inside his area, just delays for a second. This time they play it out to the left-hand side. Nuno Santos, one of those on the ball. Richarlison tries to close it down again. Tottenham look like they might win it back high up the field. Emerson Royal with a header. Bentancur has lost it. Tottenham have it back though. Kane a little deeper here in this all-blue Tottenham kit this evening. Lay off to Højbjerg. Pass played across the halfway line. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Sporting CP, as it appears on the screen, Sporting Clube de Portugal, to give them their official title. And here they come, the home team. Through the midfield with the young Uruguayan international Ugarte. Højbjerg onto him, fouls him, so that's a free kick for Sporting. It's their 10th campaign in the group stages of the Champions League. Have only made it through twice, one of those times last season, as I said, beaten by Manchester City in the last 16. Up into the Tottenham half they go. The ball comes back from Gonçalves to Mateusz Reis, and then Coates, low ball, finds Edwards, who's dropped deep there from his central position, given a little nudge in the back, and Sporting win themselves another free kick.
Yeah, just a little bit rash from Ben Davies. It was actually the first time Sporting have been able to play through this Tottenham press. Just found Edwards just dropping off of Davies into one of those pockets just in front of the wing-back. Davies didn't step in initially, and when he did, too eager and gave that free kick away.
Richarlison, good defensive work for the Tottenham team. Wins it off Gonçalves, takes it forward across the halfway line. Bentancur quickly sweeps the ball to his left. Perisic almost leaves it behind, was trying to play a pass there and sort of dug his foot into the turf, or actually, just judging by his reaction, wanted Ben Davies to run onto the ball, and Davies had stayed where he was. Tottenham have kept it. Forward to Richarlison, he tries a step over. Mateusz Reis too quick, too good for him that time. Sporting quickly turned defence into attack. Here's Trincao, who's on loan from Barcelona in Lisbon this season, having been on loan to Wolves last season. Reis, Mateusz Reis down the left to Nuno Santos. Santos pass back is intercepted by Emerson Royal, and it goes out for a throw into Sporting.
Oh, that's what Sporting are waiting for. Any little bit of sloppiness, any lack of concentration, giving the ball away when they're slightly exposed, Tottenham, and you see the speed at which they're prepared to get forward. Edwards, Porro, Santos, the wing-backs in particular, the speed at which they break into the spaces left by Perisic and left by Emerson Royal, and Spurs will have to be aware of that.
Antonio Adan, Sporting's keeper, again plays the ball out to the right to Pedro Porro. Porro back to Adan. This time he chips one down the middle of the field. Gonçalves heads the ball infield. Velvet first touch from Marcus Edwards. Spins away from Bentancur. Gets those little legs scuttling fast to take him down the inside right channel. Then he stops in his tracks. Plays the ball back into midfield. Ugarte plays it across to Morita. Morita wide to Nuno Santos. Little trick from him. Low, powerful cross into the near post. Morita miscues a left-footed attempted volley from the angle. Emerson Royal is under pressure. Gonçalves comes through the back of him. One of those where Emerson Royal was trying to clear, and as he brought his right leg back, he kicked Gonçalves, but went down because it knocked him off balance.
Yeah, I'm not fully convinced that should be a free kick, but Spurs will take it in that position. See Emerson Royal just feeling somebody was there, feeling the contact from Pedro, and going to ground quite easily, and Spurs will be pleased with getting the free kick. Just come under a little bit of pressure there. Emerson Royale not doing enough to defend the initial cross. It was really good defending by Dyer in the middle to stop that ball flashing right across the 6-yard box.
It's the voice of Leon Osman on 5 Live, available on the BBC Sounds app, as always, if you're on the move. Champions League football tonight, a studio-based commentary. Tottenham out in Lisbon. This is Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. If one of these two teams can grab the win this evening, they'll be sitting in a great position. 2 wins out of 2, 6 points at the top of the group. The other game in this group this evening, Marseille against Frankfurt, as Perisic makes a move down the left, heads the ball infield. It took 2 Sporting defenders to stop him. Inacio runs in, hoiks the ball out of play for a throw into Tottenham, wide on the left. Stadium is not full, but a lively atmosphere nonetheless. We can see a few empty green seats around and about as Dyer plays the ball across to Hojbjerg, who's already got a couple of goals to his name for Tottenham in the Premier League this season. Hojbjerg involved again to Eric Dyer. Dyer in the centre circle, forward to Davis, wide to Perisic. Harry Kane involved, plays it back to Ben Davis. And Tottenham happy to come back to Eric Dyer as the central pivot from deep. Fires it forward to Richarlison. Richarlison plays it out wide to Emerson Royale. They exchange another 1-2. Now Hojbjerg, little ball with the outside of his right foot. Nice turn from Bentancur. Kane is there to help out again. Back it comes to Dyer, and this is good measured build-up from Tottenham. Longer ball over the top from Hojbjerg. Just gets away from the right-back, Emerson Royale, and behind it goes for a goal kick. Leon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that those are the kind of runs that we need to see from the wing-backs of Spurs, giving the central midfielders opportunities to play the ball in behind. The Sporting defence are trying to stay tight with that front three from Spurs, so runs from deep will be key for getting in behind the defence.
Goal kick for Sporting, taken short. The 2 centre-backs standing either side of the 6-yard box. Inacio plays it to Porro, played forward by the Uruguayan Ugarte. Good build-up from Sporting, really nicely worked. Edwards back to Trincao, who's a lithe runner with the ball, plays it wide to Santos, takes a couple of touches, chased by Richarlison, cross comes in, blocked by Dyer. Here's Morita, central midfielder, onto the ball inside the Tottenham area. Tottenham now back in numbers, but Sporting continue to attack down the left-hand side. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. If you have just joined us, full commentary of Liverpool Ajax in the Champions League from 8 o'clock this evening. The other game in that group involving a British team has moved to tomorrow night. That is Rangers against Napoli, so we'll have updates on that one tomorrow during our commentary of Manchester City at home against Borussia Dortmund. Edwards has dropped deep again, gives it to Gonçalves. The front three all linking up. Trincao back to Edwards, teasing Tottenham defenders, trying to draw them out, and then Ugarte comes back to the halfway line. So Sporting have got every single outfield player inside the Tottenham half at the moment. Inacio to Edwards. Edwards eventually releases down the right. The cross comes in to the far post. Emerson Royale heads it away. Richarlison with a second header, and Morita beats Kane to the ball and volleys it back into the Sporting half. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, Spurs will be pleased with that bit of defence that they showed. Sporting are so sharp and quick on the counter-attack. You saw how fluent the move was initially when Spurs are running back towards the goal defensively. They look slightly exposed, but once they get themselves set, once they get people behind the ball, they force Sporting to move the ball from side to side. Tottenham look a lot better and a lot more difficult to break down.
Nuno Santos plays back to Mateusz Rice. Sporting keeping their cool under pressure here. Tottenham on the press, but Sporting work it out to the right. Pedro Porro's got time. That's not a great ball back to him. He couldn't control it, and it comes off Son to Kane. Kane tries to burst down the left-hand side of the penalty area, looks to loop across into the box. Inacio blocks it with his body. Tottenham get the rebound. Here's Ben Davis. Bit of skill took him away from the defender, but he's lost it now. Edwards to Gonçalves. Gonçalves with the outside of his right foot. Plays it wide to Trincao. Sporting, you can see when they get on it like that, they get forward as quickly as they can. Tottenham have got back behind the ball, and so Sporting have slowed it, and Coates at walking pace plays it to the left.
Both teams at the moment just look like they're still weighing each other up. They're not ready to overexpose themselves in an attacking way. Spurs won the ball back quite high up there, and you expected to see Perisic bombing forward, Emerson Royale and maybe even one of the midfielders trying to join in, but it was all quite calm, and let's see what you can do as a front three. See if you can get us a goal. We don't want to give Sporting Lisbon the opportunities to break in behind us.
Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Sporting again in the green and white hoops. Deflected pass, chased back by Perisic. He didn't want it to go out for a corner, just manages to prevent that. It's gone out for a throw as he hacks it away with his left foot, and then his momentum very nearly took him into the digital advertising hoardings, 5 or 6 yards behind the dead ball line. Throw in then, which Pedro Porro will take. Ugarte is left all alone. He's only 5-6 yards from the Tottenham box. Sporting come back and work it around. Here's Nuno Santos. Santos in the inside left channel, 40 yards from goal. Back they come to the centre circle. Coates curls the ball out to the right. Porro can't control it. Perisic was closing him down quickly there. I don't know whether he caught a flash of the Tottenham man in his eye. Couldn't control the ball. It spun off his boot, and it's gone out for a throw into Tottenham in the left back position. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0, Victoria Plzen 0, Inter Milan 0. That's the early kick-off in Group C this evening. Richarlison uses his body really well to jump and win a header. Nods it down to Kane on the halfway line. Kane plays the 1-2 with Emerson Royale, then curls the cross in looking for Son or Richarlison, too close to the goalkeeper, and Adan throws himself at it and makes the catch.
Yeah, you could see what he was trying to do. The moment he got the ball and was able to even get on the half turn, then Harry Kane, he was looking up to see where not only Son was, but where Richarlison was. Both of them made different runs. Son's was the more attacking. Harry Kane went for that one, but just let it drift slightly. It didn't have enough curl to bring it back towards his teammate.
So 20 minutes played, still goalless in Lisbon. Ball fired forward, easily intercepted by Eric Dyer. He goes straight up the middle of the pitch looking for Richarlison. Coates just got in front of the Brazilian there to win it for Sporting, who were able to bring it forward with Gonçalves, just jogging into the Tottenham half. Back it comes to Hidemasa Morita, who was signed this summer by Sporting for £35 million, former teammate in Japan of Rio Hatate, now at Celtic. They both used to play together at Kawasaki Frontale. 1-2, played inside the Tottenham half. Mateus Rice, across to Ugarte. He's one of those who plays with the socks slightly rolled down. Gonçalves chases the ball down the right-hand side, can't keep it in. Behind it goes for the Tottenham goal kick. We're almost midway through the first half. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. I can see Inter have taken the lead away to Victoria Plzen. Victoria Plzen 0, Inter Milan 1. Leon Osman.
Yeah, Spurs will be comfortable with those kind of moments. I mentioned earlier when Antonio Conte's team can get behind the ball and force Sporting to just take a breath and go sideways and trying to unlock the door. They don't seem to know exactly how to break what looks like a more physical defenders from Spurs down. What they need is space to break into and opportunities to run forward, and Spurs are quite comfortably denying them those at the moment.
Tottenham build-up is interrupted on the halfway line. It was working very nicely. Richarlison with a little sort of drag flick, backheel flick to find Kane. Sporting had the ball, they've given it away. Christian Romero plays it to Højbjerg. He's under pressure, has his ankle trodden on by Morita, who apologises. Dyer up towards Son. Son quickly on to Kane, who tries to head it back to the South Korean, couldn't control it. Inacio back to Coates, and Sporting in possession again inside their own half.
I was unlucky that from Son there, trying to link up with Kane. The ball was fired into him, he just flicked it round the corner. I said that the Sporting defenders are trying to get really tight, and it's that kind of inventiveness that will create the opportunity for Spurs. Little 1-2 round the corner to Harry Kane's head. He just couldn't direct it back into the path of Son.
Coates to Inacio. Floated ball up to the halfway line. Trincao flicks on. Dyer wins the header for Tottenham. Loose ball on the halfway line. Perisic is there on the left. Plays back to Ben Davis. Davis to Eric Dyer. Bentancur. First time ball to Richarlison. Again looking for the backheel flick to Kane. This time it works out. Kane runs to his right. Looks for Emerson Royale. That's intercepted. Well read by Nuno Santos. What a lovely turn from Marcus Edwards. Then tries to make his way past Christian Romero, who was not for passing there, just too strong for him. Edwards went down and Romero wins it back for Tottenham.
Yeah, the initial turn was brilliant. Brilliant little shimmy and dummy, sent two Spurs players running in the opposite and the wrong direction. It was unfortunate for him, but very good for Spurs that, as you mentioned, Christian Romero was there really quickly and just used all of that strength to push him off the ball.
Bentancur to Kane, first time ball, might find Richarlison. Richarlison onto it, gets the shot away. Two defenders in the way to block. One of those was Mateus Rice. Tottenham keep it going. Perisic's cross in, looking for Kane. The goalkeeper Antonio Adan read it quickly off his line and grabs it gratefully before Harry Kane can stick his head on it.
Yeah, just overhit that cross there from Perisic. A little disappointed. He had, I think, all three of his strikers in quite tight proximity, all ready to try and get the end of that cross. But just before that was that first moment where lovely little 1-2 and shot involving Richarlison, and the ball just broke for him inside that penalty. He just couldn't quite get a shot away.
Another Kane flick on finds Richarlison. Some nice link up between those two in the first 25 minutes for Tottenham. So Richarlison and Son in behind Kane. Richarlison on the right, Kane through the middle. Kane looks up and sees Perisic in a bit of space wide on the left, just outside the penalty area. Right-footed cross. Richarlison's headed down. Not enough on it. Adan makes another comfortable save.
Oh, he'll probably be a little disappointed with that one, Richarlison. It was a brilliant build-up. Initially, Harry Kane dropping off. Richarlison made a run. He went out to Perisic. He chose the right option to go wide. Perisic takes a touch, drops his shoulder, delivers a beautiful cross in to the back post. Spurs have four players all attacking different areas, but it's Richarlison whose head it lands upon. It just seemed to flash down his face and hit the floor, and it was a very easy take for the goalkeeper. 2
goals with 2 headers to beat Marseille last week. That was a risk from Pedro Porro, but brilliant close control to get away. Out from the right-back position, Porro's ball forward to Trincao. Trincão's getting a shout from Marcus Edwards wide on the right. Trincão still has it for Sporting. Tottenham trying to get back quickly. Trincão will shoot. Lloris has it covered. It skids wide of the left-hand post, and behind it goes for a goal kick. But again, in the blink of an eye from a Tottenham attack, Sporting are down the other end, and they're getting a shot on the Tottenham goal.
Yeah, that's where they're so dangerous. Trincão, really impressive the way he was moving forward with the ball, dropping his shoulder, had his head up the whole time, looking both right and left to see which was the best opportunity to continue the attack. And once he got to the edge of the penalty, he decided to take the shot on himself, but just pulled it a touch wide. Lloris had it covered, but as you said, another dangerous counter-attack, I'd say, there from Sporting.
You might remember the name, Francisco Trincão, on loan from Barcelona, as he was at Wolves last season. 22 years old, 3 goals in 30 appearances for Wolves last season, who obviously aren't a free-scoring team. 16 starts in the Premier League. Lloris being closed down here by Gonçalves. Quickly clears it with his left foot. Inacio heads it to his right, and Porro is there to get it back to his goalkeeper, Adan.
Yeah, you talk about the numbers there from Trincão, and I watched him quite a number of times last season. I thought he was quite a good player. I thought the way he moves with the ball, how fluent he was in possession and out of possession. And I remember him hitting the post on a few occasions and just pulling his shots wide. And his numbers should have been more impressive than they actually were last season for Wolves.
Leon Osman with us on 5 Live and BBC Sound. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Both teams looking to hit on the counter. Sporting having tested Lloris early in the half. His tip round the post with the strike from the edge of the box has kept it at 0-0. Cross comes in from the right. Lloris thought about coming. It's too deep for anyone anyway. Lets it go, and behind it goes for the goal kick. So it was second half goals for Sporting last week away to Frankfurt. They're absolutely clinical on the counter. Marcus Edwards with the first, set up the second for Trincão. Trincão, who's actually scored 3 goals in his last 2 games, and Nuno Santos off the bench, and that was brilliant work from Porro down the right-hand side. So Tottenham have been warned. They know what Sporting can do, and at the moment it remains goalless. Eric Dyer creeping forward just outside his own penalty area. Antonio Conte, edge of the pitch, scampering along the touchline, pointing to where he wants the ball passed to. Dyer this time works it out to the left-hand side. Ben Davies with a bit of space to run into, gives the ball to Perisic. Son makes the run wide down the left. Little drag of the ball with his right foot to take it away from Inacio. He's then able to front him up, plays it back to Perisic. Perisic to Højbjerg in the middle of the Sporting half on the left. Chip pass to Romero, who's forward from his centre-back position towards Kane. Thought about the turn, but instead lays it off here to Emerson Royal. Royal flicks it with his right boot, tries to collect it, gets the cross in right across the face of goal. No one can get there for Tottenham, and eventually I think that's going to run out of play for a Tottenham throw. Wide on the left, Emerson Royal did really well.
Oh, a brilliant bit of play from him. He dropped his shoulder. He decided when the ball comes to him, he really fancied himself 1v1 and dropped his shoulder, got that half a yard, delivered, and he was actually fouled when he put the ball in, but still managed to put a wicked delivery. It took a slight deflection on its way through from a Sporting defender, but you'll be asking why one of those front 3 weren't on the end of it.
Oh, throwing into the penalty area. Emerson Royal is there, can't get enough on the volley. The ball wouldn't come down for him, so he spooned it up in the air, and it's caught by Antonio Adan. We were talking about that Tottenham right-back position at the start of the game, Leon. I mean, he started every game so far this season, and actually so far this season, I mean, sometimes can be a little wasteful with the final ball. He's not really put a foot wrong.
No, I mean, his delivery moments ago, as we just mentioned, was absolutely brilliant, and you should be asking where one of those front three, they've got three strikers all on the pitch, one of them should be in that 6-yard box, but then, as you mentioned, that was another half chance there for him inside on the edge of the 6-yard box himself.
Here he is again. I thought he was going to try and hit a shot from 25 yards there. Instead, dinks it up in the air, looking for Højbjerg. Porro has it covered, heads it behind, and Tottenham have another corner. So Tottenham having a good little spell here. 15 minutes to go in the first half. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0, and Victoria Pilsen 0, Inter Milan 1 in the other 5:45 kickoff in the Champions League. Sporting's manager Ruben Amorim has just sat down for a second, has a drink of water. Ben Davies, is that, Leon, who's down, just taken a knock?
Yeah, he's just gone to ground. I'm not quite sure I saw the incident. You know, we'd have to maybe try and see it back, but he doesn't look like he's best pleased with the left leg at the moment. It's quite difficult to tell, but I don't want to lose him. He's got good experience. He really uses that left side well and links up with Perisic so far pretty well as well, and quite a few of the chances have been down that end. It looks like a collision with his own player. It looks like contact of knees with Eric Dyer maybe, so I'm sure he'll be hoping to run that one off.
Grimace on the sweaty face of Ben Davies. He's on his feet. Antonio Conte, intense as ever. Bit of spray on the knee. What does that do then, Leo?
Not an awful lot, if I'm being honest. Antonio Conte will be pleased. You mentioned they're just having a good little spell, Tottenham, but they do need to find that clear-cut opportunity.
Can they get it here? Corner in from Son. Good delivery. Punched away by Adan. Controlled on the edge of the box. Bentancur slices the shot. Hooks the shot, in fact. And it dribbles behind for the goal kick. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Good delivery again from the corner.
Brilliant delivery. Again, just inches away from getting a flick. That'll just take it past the goalkeeper. Then there's the rebound coming out. Probably some Spurs up in this first half. Okay, nearly. Not quite found that opportunity to pull themselves ahead.
Antonio Adan, Sporting's keeper, clears down the middle of the field. Dyer backpedaling, wins a header. Sporting win the next ball. Have a fair few players forward, and Morita is invited to carry the ball deep into the Tottenham half. Plays it wide to Gonçalves. Couple of step overs, but like Marcus Edwards, not the tallest. Green and white hoop shirt, untucked. Tottenham knocked the ball out for a throw-in to Sporting. Antonio Conte miles out of his technical area, following that ball down the left-hand touchline for Sporting as they attack in this first half. And Tottenham, of course, well rested going into this one, because had the weekend's football gone ahead, they would have had a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday away to Manchester City, which obviously would have tested them and would have needed a supreme effort in the game. So Sporting were playing at the weekend, Tottenham weren't. And here we are at 0-0 in Lisbon into the last 15 minutes of the first half on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The reaction post-match, the debate, the talking points, and the Football Daily podcast, which will be available for you on the BBC Sounds app much later tonight, first thing tomorrow morning. Adan's clearance, controlled by Davis. Lovely ball into the feet of Kane, able to turn. Oh, clever pass. Richarlison slides it to Son, couldn't quite find Son, and Adan gets to his feet, and the danger for the moment has gone for Sporting, and then the offside flag goes up. Not quite sure why Richarlison didn't shoot.
Yeah, I always felt he was just half a yard offside there, Richarlison, when Harry Kane played the ball back. Just seeing the replay, yeah, clearly offside. Yeah, I think if he was going to shoot, he would have had to use the outside of the right foot, and he did have Son up alongside him, tried to play him in, but those are the moments for Spurs, the nearly moments. They're getting into nice positions on the pitch, there's options for them to choose. They just haven't found the way to unlock the door of the Sporting defence, but if they could just step it up 5%, maybe even more, that the opportunity's there for them.
Our referee is Serbian, not mentioned him yet this evening, in a red short-sleeve shirt. Srdjan Jovanovic. You heard the blast on the whistle. Play back underway, and Tottenham have won the ball again. Good noise from the Sporting fans at the moment in their stadium. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Dyer striding forward for the visitors. Finds Romero infield to Bentancur. Son looking for Kane. Kane wasn't there for him for once, so Trincao is able to turn and wriggle away from Højbjerg's challenge. Edwards is there to provide the link man. Nuno Santos with the first-time ball down the left-hand side. Well worked by Sporting. Gonçalves wants to take Romero on. Cross comes in. Ben Davies is there covering Eric Dyer. Volleys it away with his right foot. And out it goes for a throw. It's very fluid and graceful as Sporting come forward again.
Yeah, it is. They're prepared to run without the ball. So, as soon as that ball went wide to Santos there, he had Gonçalves, he had Edwards, both making runs forward into the space because they've generally won the ball back in decent positions. So, once Spurs compete and get all the way back, they can defend it well, but in those first few moments, they have to be concerned.
Tottenham have already had one centre-back down in Ben Davies. Christian Romero is sat down at the moment for Tottenham, now back on his feet and taking deep breaths and splashing some water over his face, so I think he's going to be okay to continue. 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Tottenham manager Antonio Conte as expressive as ever on the touchlines. The Richarlison header in this half, when he didn't quite get enough power on it, the downward one that was saved by a down, when that cross came in afterwards, we saw on the replay Conte as if he was the centre forward, sort of waiting for the cross to come and then throwing himself at the header and trying to apply the finish that he thinks it required.
Well, he knows that was a chance. He knows what Richarlison is capable of, and when you're playing at this level, sometimes those just half a chances can be the difference if you've got strikers as clinical as he usually can be. So opportunity missed.
Possession just about even in the first half. The stats are just rolled up on the screen. Sporting with a little more. That is a wild shot from the edge of the penalty area. Marcus Edwards fancied a dip against his former club and nods his head to a teammate as if to say, yeah, maybe I got it wrong. Right underneath the ball, flying over the crossbar, and Tottenham have a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I don't think that was going anywhere near the goal from the moment he left his foot, but I've been not disappointed in Sporting. I think they've counter-attacked very well without really making Lloris make more than that one save. But as Spurs have got back and defended, they haven't been able to unlock that defence. They've not moved the ball quick enough.
Richarlison onto a longer ball downfield. Took a while to come down for him. The offside flag goes up against him. He was tackled anyway, and so that'll be a free kick to Sporting. But just watching Richarlison, so third consecutive start, Leon, he's settled really well into this Tottenham team.
Yes, the team seems to suit him. Not only on the field within the 90 minutes, but also off the field. He seems to have settled within the squad really quickly from what you see of social media, and that's always as big as what happens on the field. If you feel comfortable within a squad, you feel like you belong, and he seems to, then your form shows that on the field, and the style seems to suit him. He's constantly making these runs. He was just half a yard maybe offside there, but he plays right on the edge of the defence, and that's very good for Spurs.
Tottenham win it inside the Sporting half. Kane and Son exchange passes. Son into the penalty area. Quicksilver speed down to the byline. Here's the cutback beyond Richarlison. Højbjerg waiting for the volley. It was headed away from him before he could strike it. Good play from Tottenham. They'll build again from inside the Sporting half. Bentancur taps it back to Dyer. Dyer goes to his left, sees Ben Davies. Davies starts a move down the left, runs beyond Perisic, but Perisic, with his back to the Sporting goal, plays back into his own half. Dyer with a lofted ball out to Romero on the right. And Bentancur just takes a little risk, drags it away from Edwards, who tries to make the tackle, but Tottenham have kept it, and now Dyer chips a curling pass to his left. Perisic nods it in front of him. Trincao back to put the pressure on. Tottenham still have it with Højbjerg. Højbjerg looks up and thinks about the quick release, decides against that. 7 minutes remaining in the first half. On 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Match day 2 in the Champions League. This round of fixtures starting in Lisbon. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Inter Milan 1 up away to Victoria Pilsen in Group C. Full commentary on Liverpool Ajax to come on 5 Live this evening. Ben Davies, we're going to try and thread one through to Son. It didn't quite get there. Now that's a risk from Ugarte, but he's got away with it. Forward to Edwards. Then Morita, first time ball to Gonçalves. Gonçalves thought about having a run at the Tottenham defence. Romero had it covered. Instead he's tackled, and Sporting win a throw wide on the right.
Yeah, nearly again from Sporting, but just seeing that attack from Tottenham back. Really good play by Heung-min Son. We probably haven't seen enough of him in this first half. We probably mentioned Richarlison and Emerson Royal down this right-hand side more than we've mentioned Son, but brilliant bit of play. So sharp with his feet inside that penalty area, dropping his shoulder. But once he got that byline, just couldn't pick out Spurs' shirt.
Oh, Antonio Adan, Sporting's keeper, with a miscue clearance, gets lucky. Sporting have it inside their own half. Pass towards Edwards. Played up to Gonçalves through the middle. Eric Dyer in quickly with the challenge, just wanted to stop the attack, does it unfairly, so that's a free kick to Sporting. He won't mind because he doesn't get booked, and he stops the momentum of the move, but they're quick and they're clever with their movement, that front three of Sporting. Gonçalves on the left, Trincao, the tallest of the three, on the right, and Edwards popping up all over the place, but initially starting through the middle. Tottenham with the press here. Rice gets away from Richarlison, plays it forward to Nuno Santos on the left-hand side, drills the ball high across field. Perisic makes it a 50-50 in the air. Son in to try and win the tackle, loses out. Ugarte, pacey pass forward. Trincao can't control it, runs away from him and goes behind for a goal kick to Tottenham.
Yeah, again, just when they don't have spaces to run into, Sporting, they're not quite sure how to break this Tottenham defence down. And Tottenham have been really brave. They're pressing high up when they can. They're prepared to leave their back three to go man-to-man with Trincao, Edwards and Gonçalves. They trust that Davis, Dyer and Romero can compete and can use their strength and have got enough pace to deal with the Sporting front three. And up until this point, that's what's proved.
Eric Dyer clears the ball straight out of play. Big roars from the Sporting fans. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Back with Kelly Cates at half-time, presenting 5 Live Sport for you this evening, live from Anfield. Liverpool Ajax tonight in the company of Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton. Saturday's Premier League commentary will feature Tottenham. It's a 5:30 kick-off. Tottenham at home to Leicester. And then on Sunday we've got one game for you in terms of commentaries. That is Everton against West Ham in full. It kicks off at 2:15 at Goodison Park on Sunday. Slightly reduced commentary schedule for obvious reasons. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Sporting have it with Porro wide on the right, in the right back position. Back to Inacio. Doesn't want to take any risk, the 21-year-old. Hoofs it downfield. Ben Davis wins the header. Here's Dyer. Dyer with a low pass down the left. Perisic, lovely first-time ball, well controlled by Kane. Kane looks for the run of Richarlison, one-on-one with Adan. He's round Adan, tight angle, and Richarlison tucks it away. And Sporting wait for the offside flag. It goes up. The goal will get checked, but it was brilliantly created and superbly taken by that man, Richarlison. But if he's offside, obviously, it won't count.
Yeah, Sporting have held a really good line throughout this first half, and Richarlison has just been guilty of going half a yard too early to make sure, or to be offside as he's trying to bend those runs. But every time Harry Kane drops off, is able to get turned, he's got Son and Richarlison making those runs. Richarlison, unfortunately for Spurs, they're just half a yard offside, but once he got in, he was clinical, went around the goalkeeper really well, found the back of the goal, but Sporting pleased to see the offside flag go up.
Yeah, good decision by the assistant referee, couldn't miss it, didn't really need the VAR to check it. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. I was at my 10-year-old lads football training last night. They've stepped up to 9-a-side in offsides this season. Leon, he plays up front, and in training had 2 or 3 ruled out straight away for offside. And I was saying, you're going to have to learn, because that's going to get annoying.
Big moment, big moment. Foul throws and stuff coming soon.
That's right. Marcus Edwards on the ball for Sporting. Left-footed pass across to Nuno Santos. Tottenham need to concentrate here late in the first half. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Cross in, Dyer heads it away. Son had to be careful with the control. It was an awkward bounce, he's lost it. Gonçalves on the edge of the Tottenham box, playing it back to Porro. Perisic in. Fouled as he clears with his right foot. Tottenham get the free kick. 2 minutes remaining. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Quite an even first half, actually, would you say, Leo?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either team's done enough to get in front at this moment. I think both teams have showed flashes. I think Spurs have come out and been pretty impressive, tried to be brave, tried to press, tried to make sure they play on the front foot. They've looked lively when Harry Kane gets the ball and gets turned and has runners off him. Sporting have looked more lively and more impressive when they've had half the pitch to run into. So both seem aware of their strengths and their weaknesses, but neither team's done enough to get in front at the moment.
Harry Kane just making a run through the middle there. Ben Davis was trying to find him. The ball is with Tottenham on the left, and Son is fouled. So he wins a free kick for Tottenham just inside the Sporting half, wide on the left-hand side. The double headers coming up in the groups next for these two teams. So Tottenham will have 2 games against Frankfurt, the first of those away from home. Those will come after the international break, which is on the way. And Sporting will be away to Marseille in match day 3. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. 30 seconds remaining plus a bit of added time at the end of the first half. Hojbjerg, slow pass wide to Davis. Davis back to Dyer. The former Sporting man with his right foot. Nicely measured pass to Christian Romero. Here's Bentancur. Bentancur to Richarlison. Lays the ball off. Immediately gets it back from Romero. Emerson Royal side foots a first time ball looking for Kane. Kane can't get there, but Coates can only clear out for a throw. Tottenham throw, attacking position wide on the right. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half here on 5 Live. And the BBC Sounds app. Inter Milan 1 up away to Victoria Pilsen, and here Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Curling cross from Eric Dyer from long range. Perisic thought he'd kept it in. No, I think he knew actually. And he's got spotted, and it's gone behind for the goal kick to Sporting.
Yeah, as much as Antonio Conte would love to score just before half-time, he also doesn't want to concede, and you know, these are the moments that can define a game if you're concentrating and if you're make sure you're aware of everything you do. You make sure you get through to half-time without doing anything silly, without overexposing yourself in any way.
Producer George has just passed a handy little note to Leon, so I'm going to get some stats from Leon in. What have we got, Leon, on the first half, Sporting Tottenham?
Sporting about 55% possession.
Thank you.
To Spurs is 45.
Okay.
And but Spurs have had 3 corners to Sporting's 1.
Okay, and Lloris has made... Well, in fact, both keepers have made a save because the Richarlison header was comfortably saved. Now, that is lovely feet from Marcus Edwards again, leaving Tottenham defenders in his wake. Oh, this is a magnificent run. Plays the pass to Trincao, gets it back. Edwards is through. Lloris saves with his legs. And that was nearly a fabulous goal by the former Tottenham lad against his former club, and Lloris somehow has kept it out. It's a corner for Sporting.
That was absolutely outstanding. For anyone listening, I can only describe it as similar to Maradona against Argentina in '96. He picked the ball up, he turned, he must have beat 6 or 7 Spurs players before he found himself inside the penalty area, and he takes it round Romero, can't run, and then just toe pokes it with his right foot. And Lloris is trying to make himself big, but I don't think he knows exactly how he saved it. He saved it with the inside of his right hand, and it's gone past the left post. It's like hitting the inside of your bat in cricket and it going on the inside wicket way. It was a great save nonetheless from only 4 or 5 yards.
Poor Tottenham lucky to escape. Corner comes into the penalty area. Tottenham struggling to clear this one. They should be able to do it now with Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg is fouled. That'll be a free kick to Tottenham, and the half-time whistle will blow any second. That, Leon, I have to say, that is no exaggeration in terms of the run, where it started. In fact, his build and the way he moved, that was Maradona-esque. The only difference being he played a 1-2 in the move, and Maradona obviously kept the ball for himself in 86. But it just shows you the talent that he has. The half-time whistle has blown. It's 0-0.
Yeah, it was so impressive, and he's moved really well all evening. He's made some good runs. He's been good on the ball. He's been good off the ball. Showed good intelligence in the spaces in which to drop into to receive the ball. But that moment was absolutely brilliant. And but for a wonderful save from Hugo Lloris, Sporting could have found themselves in front at half-time. Exactly what I said Spurs needed to be aware of, not being sloppy just before half-time.
Very inventive attempted finish. It was a stab with the right foot, and as Leon Osman was just describing, Hugo Lloris didn't really know much about it. The ball hit his right hand, spun behind him, and luckily for Tottenham, stayed out of the goal at half-time in Lisbon. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0.
Ali, thank you very much, and quite right to flag up Marcus Edwards before the game as well, having had that chance towards the end of the first half. But overall, Leon, it's been a rare bright spot in that first half. Is that just down to the way they both want to play football?
Yeah, I think I mentioned during commentary, they both seem very aware of their strengths, and they both seem very aware of the opposition's strengths, and they're just trying to not give too much away in that first half. They don't want to concede a silly goal, and as you said, it was almost an absolutely sensational moment from Marcus Edwards that unlocked the door. I would probably expect Sporting to come out and show a little bit more in the second half, try and really expose this Tottenham side, and Tottenham haven't really had the opportunity to counter-attack, I would say, in that first half, so we may see a little bit more of that in the second half. But as you said, it's been pretty even, that first half.
Emerson Royal and Richarlison working quite well down the right. It's been a quiet night for Son yet again. Can you see Conte making changes?
Well, of course, when you've got the substitutes bench that he has before him, you expect to see changes, and that is one that you'd maybe expect, because Richarlison has looked lively. He's been right on the shoulder, run the line, looked like he could be the one to get in behind this Sporting defence. Son has had one or two moments, but he still doesn't quite look like the Son of last season and the Son we've seen before. But it's a long season. That's what Antonio Conte's hoping. He doesn't need all of his strikers firing at the same time. He'd like it, but he's got 4 top strikers and he can happily rotate them to make sure he's got the best 3 available.
As you said, Leon, you're expecting a bit more from Sporting in the second half, certainly at the start of the second half. Which side, if they decide to sort of go for it a bit more in this game, which side do you think has got the better strength to be able to do that?
I would say in the wide areas. I think that Porro and Trincao have looked sharp. I thought Santos and Gonçalves down this left-hand side have looked good, the way they're linking up in behind. They've looked better attacking the wide areas. They've looked a little bit unsure of themselves through the middle of the pitch. Or Spurs have found it much easier to defend the middle of the pitch. So I'd expect to see Sporting moving the ball from side to side, trying to get doubled up in the wide areas, trying to get in behind in those wide areas, because that's where they've found success.
Thank you very much to Leon Osman. We'll be back with him and with Alistair Bruce Ball for the second half of that game in Lisbon. No goals as yet between Sporting and Tottenham at half-time. Also half-time in the game between Victoria Plzen and Inter Milan. Inter lead by a 0-0 in that one. Remember, we've got commentary of Liverpool Ajax to come. That one is an 8 o'clock kickoff at Anfield. Coming up, we'll check in at the Women's T20, which has just got underway on 5 Sports Extra, and we'll build up to that game at Anfield later on. That's coming up after the BBC News with Jill Mackenzie.
Thank you. Good evening. The plane carrying the Queen's coffin has taken off from Edinburgh Airport and is on its way to RAF Northolt in London. From there, it'll be taken to Buckingham Palace for the night before the Queen lies in state at Westminster Hall for 4 days, starting tomorrow afternoon. Some people have already started queuing. Stephen Holgate from Vauxhall is 8th in line.
I do remember her as a small child and seeing her on television, and she had this wonderful beaming smile, and I've tried to emulate that throughout my life by smiling to strangers and everybody. Everybody think I'm crazy, but I think it does a lot of good to spread the love.
The King has pledged to follow what he called his late mother's shining example and work in the interests of the people of Northern Ireland. In his first visit to Belfast as monarch, King Charles met politicians from all sides and went to a service of reflection. Centre Parks says it will shut its 5 UK sites for 24 hours on the day of the Queen's funeral, meaning visitors will have to leave their lodges for 24 hours in the middle of their holiday or miss a day from the start or end of their break. Our Money and Work reporter is Peter Ruddick.
There is a lot of anger. There's people kind of trying to contact the company on social media, difficulty getting through on the phones. The company say, look, this is to do with making sure that their staff have the time and the space to be able to watch the funeral themselves. And of course, if the staff aren't on site to look after visitors, then that's an issue.
The UK's unemployment rate has fallen to its lowest level since 1974. New data from the Office for National Statistics shows that in the 3 months to July, the number of people out of work dropped to 3.6%. And Twitter's shareholders have voted in favour of Elon Musk's proposed takeover of the social media platform. The world's richest man offered to pay $44 billion for the company, but no longer wants to buy it. This vote means he might be forced to go through with it.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
2 Champions League commentaries for you this evening on 5 Live Sport. Sporting against Tottenham, followed by Liverpool against Ajax. That one kicks off at 8 o'clock. It's 0-0 at half-time in the game between Sporting and Tottenham. Second half of that coming up very shortly. On 5 Sports Extra, there's commentary of England women's second game in their T20 series against India. England lead the 3-match series 1-0 following an emphatic victory on Saturday. Henry Moran is at the Ancora County Ground in Derby for us. Evening, Henry.
Good evening to you. Not going quite as well for England on this occasion. 54 for 5 is the score. We've just seen Amy Jones, the stand-in England captain, attempting a reverse sweep but being bold. We were into the 10th over of the innings. England winning the toss, electing to bat first, but they've lost wickets at regular intervals. Sophia Dunkley and Danny Wyatt, as well as Alice Capsey, the top three all out for single-figure scores. Bryony Smith made 16, Jones just gone for 17, so it is now down to a reasonably inexperienced middle order to try and bolster England's run rate and get them up to what could be a total that they can defend and with it win the series.
Henry, thank you very much for that commentary of that on 5 Sports Extra. Huge boxing news today. Anthony Joshua has accepted Tyson Fury's terms for an all-British heavyweight showdown on December the 3rd. The deal was actually agreed on Friday, but they halted the announcement due to the passing of the Queen. We'll have more on this, including where the fight could take place at half-time in the Liverpool-Ajax game with 5 Live Boxing's Steve Bunce. The Rugby League World Cup starts next month, but England's Alex Walmsley will play no part in it. The St Helens prop has a foot injury. Back to the football, and Wales manager Robert Page has signed a new 4-year contract. Earlier this year, Page led his country to their first World Cup qualification since 1958.
I think we've just got that mutual respect. I'll always be honest with the players. You know, I'm massive on the environment. I'll show them that respect. I'll treat them with that respect. I want my best players on the pitch on the Saturday, so there'll be a plan in place throughout the week that gets them on that pitch. I'm not one to dictate that they have to do this on certain days and not have players available. So I think they see that I give them that level of respect.
Ryan Fraser is back in the Scotland squad for their upcoming Nations League matches. Captain Andy Robertson, though, misses out due to a knee injury and misses out on a place, of course, in Liverpool's game against Ajax at Anfield this evening, which we've got commentary of from 8 o'clock. And Arsenal women have signed winger Gio Queiroz from Barcelona and then loaned her to fellow Super League club Everton for the 2022-23 season. From 8 o'clock tonight then, more live commentary for you. Liverpool take on Ajax as Liverpool look to bounce back after that 4-1 defeat by Napoli last week. Jurgen Klopp has analysed that performance.
I watched the game back plenty of times and it was a real horror show, to be honest. And so we showed the boys the situation as well. They knew, but then seeing it again makes it really obvious. So that was pretty much... It was the worst game we played since I'm here, and we had a few bad games. We all know that. Everybody remembers probably Aston Villa and some others where we were just not up to speed or stuff like this, but there were always glimpses of us, even in these games. In this particular game, nothing. So then obviously you have to understand why that happens. I think that's not a common thing, that's more an individual thing, because I think pretty much 8 out of 11 were absolutely below their level, which they usually can play. And the 3 others were not on top level, just a normal game, I would say. And so, but in football it's like this, you sort all individual problems as a team, and that's the first thing we have to do. And that's to follow a common idea again. And that means in everything what we did since I'm here and everything what teams do in football is based on a really solid, if not nearly perfect defending. And that's where it all starts, and that's where we had to work on. And that's what we did.
Ian Dennis is on commentary duty tonight. And Deno, already you have the team news. So how are they looking?
Yes, Liverpool have made 4 changes from that defeat in Naples last week. Kelly Matip returns to the centre of defence for Gomez. Robertson, of course, is out with a knee injury, so Tsimikas comes in at left back. Thiago returns into midfield instead of Milner, and Jota actually makes his first start of the season instead of Firmino. So Alisson in goal, a back 4 of Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk and Tsimikas. Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott, the 3 in midfield, with Salah, Jota and Luis Diaz, the front 3. As for Ajax, after their resounding victory against Rangers, they're unchanged.
Deno, they've only got this next game coming up tonight before the international break. They're not going to play again now till October, Liverpool. In terms of the performance tonight, is it about as much a reaction to the Napoli result as it is to the whole of the start of the season, bar the Bournemouth game?
Very much so. I think Liverpool they've been sluggish. They've lacked their usual intensity. But I think first and foremost they're going to need a result to try and keep them in this Champions League campaign. They've never suffered back-to-back defeats at the start of a Champions League campaign. You certainly wouldn't want to be going into the international break on the back of another defeat. That could be extremely damaging to lose both of their games. So I think first and foremost they've got to get the 3 points, but the level of performance certainly needs to be better. It was they were abysmal in defence last week in Naples. Jurgen Klopp yesterday saying we need to reinvent ourselves. He talked that 8 of 11 players were below their usual levels. So he's made the 4 changes. That some of it has been enforced, particularly with the Robertson out till after the international break with a knee injury. But they'll definitely be looking for a response here this evening.
Ian Dennis, for now, thank you very much. We'll be back with Deno at Anfield ahead of kick-off in that game, which is at 8 o'clock. Full commentary coming up for you on 5 Live Sport. Also today, we heard from Graham Potter for the first time as Chelsea manager. He's been speaking ahead of his first game in charge against RB Salzburg on Wednesday about his move.
The beauty of football, the beauty of life, you never know what's around the corner. Things happened incredibly quickly. Some really intense conversations with the owners, and quickly I realised that firstly they were good people, intelligent people that had made a huge success of their life outside of football and wanting to achieve something here. Really exciting project, really exciting ideas about how to take the club forward, and it felt really, really positive. I'm not going to lie, it's been a whirlwind in terms of getting to know people, leaving Brighton, learning about the players, getting to know them, but so far it's been really, really positive. You know, my first impressions have been really, really good, and I'm looking forward to starting, as you can imagine. Really looking forward to starting.
Graham Potter there talking about his first match in charge of Chelsea. Alistair Bruce-Ball and Leon Osman are commentating this evening on Sporting Lisbon against Tottenham. Second half of that one is fast approaching. Leon, it was really interesting hearing from Graham Potter, and he's been talking about the fact he doesn't think he's ever even been to a Champions League match in person. He's just watched them on the telly. What a huge occasion for him and his first game as manager.
Yeah. And what an opportunity, though. It's brilliant to see that clubs as big as Chelsea are prepared to look within the British market and within, managers who've served their tenure. You know, they've built themselves up to become where they are, but no longer needing to look abroad. And you know, he's deserves this opportunity. He looks very good in what he's going to do. He looks like he'll bring a freshness to Chelsea that, if they buy into, will really be pleasing on the eye for everyone, you know. So yes, he may not have seen many Champions League games, but you know, it's with the players he's got to pick from, with the squad of players he's got to choose from, I'm sure he'll take to it very quickly.
Todd Bowley's been talking at a conference today and said that their vision for the club was to find a manager who really wanted to collaborate with us, and he did that as part of an answer that included flattering comments on Thomas Tuchel. But interesting as well to hear Graham Potter talk about his relationship with the owners and to describe, I mean, look, he's not going to come in and criticise the owners before he's even been in charge for one match, but just in terms of the way that he described them, it was interesting to hear.
Of course. Well, you know, as you mentioned, when you first join a club, you're flattered to have been offered the opportunity. You want to go out and work with the structure that's there ahead of you. So, you know, he'll be fitting into that best he can. He'll want to go in and achieve everything he can for Mr. Bowley and the club. So I don't see any issues there. He'll work diligently. He'll work to the best of his ability. And as I said, he's earned this opportunity through hard work until this point. I don't expect his ideals to change too much. I don't expect his thoughts on football to change too much. That, you know, it seems that Mr. Bowley wants him to work within that structure and work very well. And I think given time, I don't know if it'll be immediate, but given time, I think it'll be a good match.
And we will speak more about Chelsea after 10 o'clock tonight. In the meantime, though, they're getting ready to kick off in the second half in Lisbon. It's Sporting 0, Tottenham 0 at the break. And our studio-based commentary team for this one, Leon Osman and Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, Chelsea against Salzburg, an 8 o'clock kick-off tomorrow night. Tomorrow night on 5 Live and BBC Sounds full commentary of Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. But back in Lisbon, you heard the whistle blow, saw billowing green smoke from flares in one of the home sections of the crowd in Lisbon. We are underway in the second half. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0, and a little shot just before kick-off there. of Marcus Edwards, the Enfield lad, tying his bootlaces, who nearly scored a quite sensational goal right at the end of the first half against his former club. Hugo Lloris getting down low to his right and somehow keeping the shot out with his right hand. Here is Sporting's goalkeeper, 35-year-old Spaniard Antonio Adan, clearing with his left foot. The ball comes bouncing back towards the dead ball line, and Mateus Reis, the left-sided centre-back, just holds off fellow Brazilian Richarlison, who looks all business and seriousness again. The Mohican haircut, the peroxide blonde hair, headed chance for him in the first half, didn't quite connect with the cross. Tame header down into the ground, which made it an easy save for Adan. Probably one of Tottenham's best chances in the game. Marcus Edwards has come way back from an offside position, spotted by the assistant referee, so Tottenham will get an early free kick in the second half. Tottenham have Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer and Ben Davis. Davis in for Longley is the one change from the win against Marseille last week. Davis is the left-sided centre-back. Emerson Royal, Ivan Perisic, the two wing-backs, Højbjerg and Rodrigo Bentancur in central midfield. Richarlison and Son in support of Harry Kane through the middle. I'll give you the Sporting team in just a second. Good skills from Bentancur, drew Edwards in, managed to beat him. Not the best pass, can't find Perisic. Japanese Morita wins it for Sporting, goes scuttling across the halfway line. Perisic wins it back for Tottenham. Little floated ball down the left for Son. Tottenham in an away kit which is sort of base of turquoise and then swirly patterns of dark blue across it on the shirt. Slid pass forward by Romero, intercepted. Out it comes to Emerson Royal, chests the ball down, gets it back from Højbjerg, played forward to Richarlison, who holds his man off, and then Richarlison half tackled by Nuno Santos, and the ball goes out for a throw-in to Tottenham on the right, 0-0.
Yeah, he's looked lively. Richarlison, probably Tottenham's most dangerous player with the way he's running off the shoulder. Certainly a race in that defence for Sporting. I just think Spurs are always trying to find Harry Kane to be the one to make that pass. I think Bentancur or Højbjerg, one of those could make that early pass, and the Sporting defence is still trying to hold the line. I think Spurs could get him in quite quickly.
Perisic, ball down the left, Kane is out wide, crosses in, Royal with the header down, which is palmed away by Adam. The save actually looked very casual. Emerson Royal arriving at speed, got the header on target, and Adam was at a stretch there, but keeps it out quite comfortably with his left hand.
Yeah, but what a cross from Harry Kane on that left-hand side, right next to the corner flag. He really whipped his left foot around it, and it was brilliantly delivered towards that back post, and Emerson Royal did beat his Marcus Santos, I think it was, at that back post, got above him, but you're right, Adan just casually, far too casual, I'm sure, for his manager, just flicked a left wrist at it to keep it out. But good start to the second half from Spurs.
Yeah, I think it bounced slightly higher than the goalkeeper was expecting and almost got taken by surprise, but tall man had it covered, kept it out. Son's been fouled by Morita, so free kick for Tottenham. Adan in goal, Sporting player 3-4-3. Tottenham have taken the free kick. Emerson Royal's in again, tight angle. Adan makes another save, and then the ball is almost knocked over him by Nuno Santos for an own goal, and it's gone behind, and Sporting survived. So a couple of early chances in the second half for Emerson Royal, who was quickest off the mark from the free kick.
Yeah, those are the opportunities. When you play balls in before the opposition defence have got set, they're not quite ready for it, and that's what it was happening. It was a deep run from Royal, just left in there by Harry Kane, it was, who came deep to take the free kick, but Royal's got to score. He really has got to score. It's an awkward height, yes. Difficult opportunity, maybe, but at 6 yards out, he's got to find a way past the goalkeeper.
One goal for the club he has to his name in his Tottenham career so far. Corner in from Son, delivery into the near post, headed straight up in the air. Two players jump for it on the edge of the box, and Bentancur is penalised for jumping into the defender. Free kick Sporting.
Oh, not in my opinion, and the referee's looking right at it. Bentancur's got his eyes on the ball in the air. The Sporting player just runs into him inside his own penalty area. The referees aren't really going to give a penalty for that kind of coming together, but I don't know what else Bentancur can do in that situation.
So the back three for Sporting: Gonzalo Inacio, 21 years old, Sebastian Coates, 31 years old, former Liverpool and Sunderland centre-back, now approaching 300 appearances in total for Sporting. The Brazilian Mateus Reis at left-sided centre-back. Sporting are giving the ball away. Son left-hand side, making ground up to the edge of the box, tumbles over, doesn't get the decision. Ignacio plays it down the right. Tottenham in again quickly. Ben Davies, good ball. Son on the turn, runs into trouble, somehow manages to keep it, just about holds on to it. Ben Davies is fouled. The referee is going to play an advantage here. Perisic gets the cross in. That's blocked. No, it's not blocked. He's shanked it behind, and it's a goal kick to Sporting. So just to finish their team lineup, the two wing-backs, the Spaniard Pedro Porro, 23 today on the right. Nuno Santos, the Portuguese, wide on the left-hand side. He's the one change from the team that beat Frankfurt last week. Morita and Ugarte, the 21-year-old Uruguayan, in central midfield. Francisco Trincao, Pedro Gonçalves and Marcus Edwards have certainly caused Tottenham problems in this game so far as the front three. Højbjerg on the turn, tripped over, free kick for Tottenham. Højbjerg wants to go quickly. Two Sporting players in the green and white hoop shirts in his way, and the referee steps in to sort it out. He wants to get the vanishing spray out, which he does. So a little semicircle is sprayed in front of the ball, and Tottenham have another attacking set piece. They started the first half well, Leon, and Tottenham have started the second half well in this game.
Yeah, they have. They've got Sporting on the back foot. They're pressing them high, just like they did in the first half, winning the ball high, and from those moments, looking really dangerous. The ball just fell to Son on the edge of the penalty area once or twice, and for the standards he's set, he's just looking a little bit below that at the moment, and it'll be frustrating to him and his manager, because they're decent opportunities for Spurs to create chances.
Definitely has the manager's confidence. Started every game so far this season. It's Kulusevski on the bench again. Son's free kick into the path of Harry Kane. Angles tight, tries to get a cross in. Porro's in front of him. Ball knocked into his shins, and out it goes for a throw-in to Tottenham on the right-hand side. 7 minutes played in the second half. We heard from Ian Dennis at half-time. He's at Anfield this evening alongside Chris Sutton, so full commentary of Liverpool Ajax to come in Group A, the Champions League this evening. Tottenham have taken the throw. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0, and every single outfield player currently inside that Sporting half. Dyer's ball to the left. Perisic on the stretch, tries to control it, gets away from him, and behind it goes for a goal kick to Sporting. Inter Milan still leading 1-0 away to Victoria Pilsen in the other early kickoff in the Champions League this evening.
Just seeing Ruben Amorim on the sideline, I think he's applauding his back three, back five, because they're holding a really aggressive line, really a decent line high up when Spurs have the ball. On that occasion, Eric Dyer tried to play a ball from deep to leave it in front for Perisic, and it was almost the perfect pass, but they just need one more. Filter the ball into midfield, get it to Bentancur or Højbjerg, play the passes from those kind of positions, and that's where they'll catch Sporting.
Perisic, first time ball on the stretch to Højbjerg. Højbjerg rifles one up to Richarlison, controls it well. Great run from Harry Kane, chased by Sporting defenders, hits the shot with his left foot, palmed away by Dan, bouncing back towards his own goal, and the goalkeeper's quick enough to react, throws himself to his right, and is able to make a second save there for Sporting. It's still 0-0.
Well, that's what we're used to seeing from Tottenham Hotspur. Brilliant pass. Højbjerg gets turned really quickly into Richarlison, and from him it was Kane one side, Son the other. He chose Harry Kane, who got the ball out of his foot with one touch, hit it with his left foot with the other. It was going into the top corner, as you'd expect from Harry Kane, but down at full stretch, and then it took a couple of ricochets before finding its way back into his grateful hands.
Former Everton midfielder and England international Leon Osman with us on 5 Live this evening. Our studio-based commentary, the action over in Lisbon. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Both Leon and I have personal experience of the stadium that we're watching now. Actually worked out before the game. I watched Leon, I commentated on Leon playing in this stadium for an Everton team back in 2010. Tottenham building again. Work it to the right. Emerson Royale stands across up to the far post, attacked by Perisic, leaps over the back of Richarlison, almost gets in his way, can't get a proper header on goal, and behind it goes for the goal kick. I think I said that night very kind things about your performance. Yeah, I think.
From what I remember about my performance, I'll be surprised, Ali, but Spurs are knocking on the door here. They've got Sporting on the back foot. They're creating half opportunities again, worked it really well, overlap on the right, and Emerson Royale decided to dink one to the back post, and Perisic leapt so well, but he's just moaning at Richarlison, felt he got in his way and ended up, well, say heading it with his shoulder, missed it and hit his shoulder. But half opportunities again, just like in the first half, creating bits but not quite finding that that clear-cut chance.
Promising signs for Tottenham in the early stages of the second half. Watch out for this little fella there, Marcus Edwards. Tottenham know all about him because he took his first steps in football at Tottenham. Only ever made one substitute appearance for them in a League Cup tie against Gillingham, but is very much a threat against them in the Champions League this evening. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Morita plays it wide to Mateusz Rice for Sporting. Sebastian Coates to Rice again. Rice, ball forward into the channel. Gonçalves into the feet of Marcus Edwards, tees up the left-footed shot. Dyer's there to block it for Tottenham. Rebound bounces out to the left. Here's Morita. Morita to Edwards. Bentancur comes to try and close it down. He's so quick with the ball at his feet, Edwards. You think you've got him under pressure and he's away from you. He's actually conceded the foul here. It'll be a free kick for Tottenham. He is a really tricky customer.
Yeah, he's the type of player that has a really low centre of gravity and can move and turn really quickly. The fact he can do it with the ball is what's impressive. He's taken the ball with him as he's changing direction really quickly. And the Spurs back three, it's back five if you include the two defensive midfielders in front of him who are having to watch for him coming in over their shoulder into the spaces. They're having to be very aware of him, but really good defending there by Eric Dyer, backing into his own penalty. It denied him the shot.
Richarlison, first time ball way beyond Kane. Coates, the long legs eat up the ground very quickly, is able to get to that ball first, play it back to Adan. Adan quickly plays it out to Rice in the left back position, comes back to his goalkeeper. Sporting inside their own half. Pedro Porro drops deep on the right hand side, fires one forward, easily intercepted by Ben Davies. Højbjerg slightly telegraphs the pass. It's half intercepted, but it bounces back to Bentancur. He plays it on to Romero. Richarlison so quick to that ball, takes it away from Mateusz Rice into the box. Curling shot is just wide, right across the face of goal. I think Adan had it covered, but again Richarlison looking very, very sharp for Tottenham.
Yeah, just for a moment I think the defender Rice just thought he had that first pass in from Romero, and Richarlison was so sharp, nipped in front of him, just flicked it round the corner, cut back inside, and yeah, Dan always had his left foot shot covered. May have been better just passing that across the 6-yard box for his teammates, but he continues to look lively.
Here he is again, gets it from Bentancur with his back to goal. This time lays it off to Emerson Royal, who tries to switch play quickly to the left. Wing back to wing back. Perisic chests it down. Ben Davies makes the supporting run on the outside. Perisic crosses in. Richarlison chests it down. It won't quite come down for him. It bounces. He's got two defenders in front of him. They get it away from him. Bentancur out to Emerson Royal. Nuno Santos with the sliding challenge on the Brazilian, and Tottenham win yet another corner. It's Sporting 0, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, they happen to keep the concentrations levels high here, Sporting, because Spurs are asking all the questions. Antonio Conte's men have started this second half like they're really keen to get the opening goal in this game. They're pushing the Sporting team backwards and backwards, having to defend deeper and deeper, but still as yet not made the goalkeeper work hard enough.
Sixth Champions League campaign for Tottenham. Only once have they failed to get out of the group stages. If they can make it 2 wins out of 2 by getting a win tonight, they'll be in great shape early on in this group. Son's ball in, doesn't beat Porro at the near post. Bentancur heads it to his left. Højbjerg on the half volley slices the ball across the field and straight out of play for a throw into Sporting. So in terms of the Sporting home record against English teams in European competition, was having a little look at this ahead of the game, obviously mentioning Lyon's appearance back in 2010. Everton didn't win that night. 4 English teams have won against Sporting in Lisbon. Most of those games recently, actually. Manchester United in the Champions League 2007 group stages, Chelsea 2014, Arsenal did it in the Europa League in 2018, and Manchester City with a thumping win in the last 16 here last season. In terms of British teams, Cardiff and Rangers have also had wins in this stadium. Cardiff back in the 60s and Rangers on their way to the UEFA Cup final in 2008. Tottenham trying to follow in those footsteps this evening. They've had chances early on in the second half. An hour played in the game. Perisic has to get back to cover a ball forward for Pedro Porro. He's there first and plays it back to Hugo Lloris, and Hugo Lloris has time to find Eric Dyer, and Dyer quickly moves it wide out to the right, back to Romero. Lloris under a bit of pressure, the ball runs away from him slightly, clips it away with his left foot. Perisic flicks the header on. Sporting have it back. Højbjerg read that brilliantly as they try to work it to the right. Kane is tackled though. Tottenham could be in a spot of bother here. Morita half stopped by Højbjerg, and Tottenham were able to get back into that defensive shape and reorganise as Sporting take possession on the halfway line. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0.
You can see that about Spurs. Every time there's a duel for the ball, or every time they're competing, and there may be a half an opportunity for Sporting to expose them, they get back quickly, they get men behind the ball, they get in good defensive positions to make sure that if they do lose those battles, they're comfortable.
And now they've won the ball inside the Sporting half. Richarlison decided not to play it to Kane on the left, looked right instead. Gonçalves is able to intercept. That's a challenge from behind by Bentancur. That is the first yellow card of the game. Came sliding in, felt he had to stop the attack. May have got a little bit of ball, but was always likely to go into the book for that. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, that's where Sporting come alive. It was just a little bit of sloppiness by Richarlison, who thought that he was going to be starting the Spurs attack. Spurs breaking forward for once. Emerson Royal made that run from deep on that right-hand side, and when they lost the ball, that was the area that Gonçalves tried to run into. And you're right, Bentancur over quickly decided to make that foul and take that yellow card.
Group C tonight, Inter Milan still 1-0 up away to Victoria Pilsen. The other game in that group, Bayern Munich against Barcelona, kicks off at 8 o'clock. We've got full commentary on Liverpool against Ajax, as we've been telling you. Full commentary tomorrow night from the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund, with updates of Rangers' home game against Napoli, and Graham Potter's first game in charge of Chelsea. First game, actually, as we were hearing at half-time, at a Champions League game. Even as a spectator, has never been to a Champions League game. So we wish him all the best with that. Sporting on the ball inside their own half. Inacio looping ball out to the left. Gonçalves to Nuno Santos. High ball away to the right-hand side. Perisic has it covered for Tottenham. Curls one up the line to Richarlison. Comes back to Perisic. Perisic sees the space opening up on the right. Plays it across to Emerson Royal, who controls it well but couldn't find Son with the ball forward. Just feels like it's opening up a little bit at this stage of the second half. Edwards plays a 1-2 with Gonçalves for Sporting. And Gonçalves comes tiptoeing forward with the ball at his feet, and it's slowed down again.
Well, we all know how good Spurs can be on the counter-attack, but they've not really got it right this evening. They haven't had many opportunities. Sporting don't seem to leave themselves exposed on the counter-attack very often, but when they have, Spurs maybe haven't chose the right option, or have been a little bit sloppy in possession of the ball, and it's probably been a little frustrating for Antonio Conte, knowing how well his side usually operate in that domain.
In terms of the attacking changes available to him, we've obviously mentioned Dejan Kulusevski on the bench. Brian Hill is available, so he's coming back from injury, yet to play this season. Morita has just been booked for Sporting for a trip on Son. Son was on the dribble inside the Sporting half, so that's a yellow card apiece now. 18 minutes gone in the second half. Still Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Perisic delays across. Ben Davies makes a run. He looks to find him with a floated ball over the top. It gets away from the Welsh international. And behind it goes for a goal kick to the home team.
You just wonder what Antonio Conte's thinking in this moment. An hour in, his side have been pretty comfortable. They've looked probably the team more likely, I think, apart from that little bit of magic in the first half from Edwards. Is he seeing this as an opportunity? Let's get this game won. Let's step it up a minute. Maybe I make changes. Maybe I ask my team just to do a bit more. Or is he thinking, you know, this is an away game in the Champions League. Away, point isn't a bad result, but I think it's on him. I think that Spurs are comfortable in the moment at the game, that if they do decide to step it up, they could be the ones to make the change in the game.
Tottenham have the ball inside their own half. Back they come to captain and goalkeeper Hugo Lloris. Plays it wide to Ben Davies. Ben Davies had to run hard to keep that in play. Plays it forward first time. Volleyed back by Coates. Too far for Marcus Edwards, and Lloris quickly across to the left-hand side of his penalty area to grab it for Tottenham. The Sporting coach, Ruben Amorim, very casually dressed in the white t-shirt. It exposes the tattoo on his left arm. Just scratching his head, having to think about what changes they might make. Porro in with the tackle on Richarlison. The ball comes off Richarlison and goes out for a throw into Sporting. Midway inside the Tottenham half, wide on the right-hand side. This game still looking for its first goal. Richarlison did have the ball in the net in the first half, but he was well offside before he ran onto the pass from Harry Kane. Richarlison's chasing now. Ball is back with Sporting's goalkeeper Antonio Adan. Down the middle of the pitch he goes. Ben Davies wins the header. Højbjerg couldn't control it, so Sporting sense an opportunity to build down the right, and Porro, when he gets forward down the right, can be dangerous, as we saw in the win against Frankfurt last week. Here's Morita, wears number 5 for Sporting. You've got solid green on the backs of the green and white hoop shirts. Morita's given the ball away, then jumps into a challenge on Son on a yellow card. He's got to be careful there. This time Richarlison is fouled, and that will be a free kick to Tottenham inside their own half. That was Ugarte, who's the other central midfielder, who saw Morita had missed his challenge, so made sure that the Tottenham attack was stopped at source. Just 21 years old. Definitely some young, exciting talent in this Sporting team. Free kick Tottenham. Across it comes to Dyer. Dyer plays to Ben Davies on the left. Davies, good ball forward to Harry Kane. Gets control of it. Looks for the run of Richarlison, and Kane actually, for once, not on the money with the ball forward beyond Richarlison, and Dan is able to get that for Sporting.
Yeah, it's been like that for a lot of the evening from Tottenham, that things just haven't quite been exact.
Could be exposed here. Gonçalves at pace down the left-hand side up to the edge of the box. Weak shot. Lloris makes a very comfortable save. Again, very simple from Sporting. Edwards is involved, turned it round the corner and down the left-hand side. Gonçalves was away, couldn't find the final ball or the finish.
Yeah, it was good play from Gonçalves initially when he went and got the ball deep, flicked it round the corner. Christian Romero went all the way in with him, and once Gonçalves turned, Romero didn't bother. He just sort of stayed in that position. Great little 1-2 with Edwards, and weak finish in the end. You'd probably expect him to have stretched Lloris a bit more than he did.
Harry Kane, no, it's Bentancur, beg your pardon, on the turn there, looking for a quick ball forward to Richarlison. It's another one that's been overhit. Son Heung-min with some great work actually to hang on to the ball to create that chance for Tottenham. A couple of challenges on him, and it did stick, and it looked like it might be an opportunity. Sporting have it. Here's Porro on the right-hand side, midway through the second half now. 5 Live and BBC Sounds Football Daily podcast will be there for you on the BBC Sounds app later tonight. First thing tomorrow morning. If you haven't already subscribed to that, then make sure you do. We'll have all the news, the debates, the reaction to this evening's games in the Champions League. Here's Nuno Santos on the turn for Sporting. He's the left wing back in the 3-4-3. He plays it back to Morita. Morita cross here to Inacio. And now Sporting start to attack down the right. Trincao, not seen too much of him in the second half. Lays it off to Ugarte. Ugarte across the Tottenham half to Mateus Reis, wide to Nuno Santos. Here's Edwards on the ball into the Tottenham penalty area, wide on the left, gets the cross in. Ben Davies read it well, clears it first time, back it goes into the Tottenham area. Gonçalves flicks it over his shoulder with a hopeful cross, and Hugo Lloris is able to come out and make the catch.
Yeah, Eric Dyer in a good position again, and he's been the one, though, we've spoken about all night. Edwards, Marcus Edwards, he's been a real threat in this Sporting team, the way he can move the ball just in such tight areas as he was there inside the Tottenham penalty area. 2 Spurs defenders on him trying to push him away from goal, but he still found that half a yard just to filter it across the 6-yard line, and Spurs pleased to defend it.
Ben Davies, forward ball headed away back into the Tottenham half. That's got to be a foul from Edwards. Oh, he's looked like he shoved Ben Davies over. He's allowed to continue back on his feet, and Højbjerg is there, blocks the cross at the near post. Behind it goes for a corner, and did Ben Davies get booked for complaints about the... I thought it was a foul, Leon.
It looked like a foul, and the referee did put the whistle to his mouth, then decided to play on. It was as if, I'll check it on VAR if it goes in, but the fact of the matter, it didn't go in means play continues, and Eric Dyer probably would have been best served keeping that ball in rather than letting it go out. He's just seeing the replay again. It's a clear barge in the back of Ben Davies by Marcus Edwards, but even though he was so close, the referee decided to play on.
Corner for Sporting. Tottenham will not be best pleased if this ends up in the back of the net. Just over 20 minutes to play. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0 in Lisbon. An away swinger still in the danger zone for Tottenham. Oh, well hit by Morita, and Richarlison did brilliantly. Just came rushing out to block the volley with his back and continues to chase that ball forwards into the Sporting half. Inter Milan have a second, more comfortable now. Lost their first game in Group C in the Champions League this season. Lost 2-0 at home to Bayern last week. They now lead 2-0 away to Victoria Pilsen in the Czech Republic. This is still Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Do we describe it as a good 0-0?
I wouldn't say it's a terrible 0-0, but I certainly wouldn't say it's a good 0-0. But these are the games Spurs haven't quite found that fluency that we've seen of them in the past.
Step over from Perisic. Oh, that's a great cross into the far post, and Harry Kane very nearly on the end of it. Just got there a fraction of a second too late. That was fabulous work from Perisic. The ball has gone out for a Sporting throw in their left-back position.
Oh, brilliant from Perisic. Does what you want, getting to backing your defender up, Porro, dropping your shoulder, step over the right foot, taking like a firing it across about 5 yards out, and I'm not sure Harry Kane saw it until late, because he ends up lunging at it near the back post with his left foot rather than maybe sliding at it with his right foot. But certainly, again, as I say, when you get balls flashed across the 6-yard box by wing-backs and you've got 3 strikers all above ahead of the ball, you've got to hope one of them can get on the end of those chances.
So Hidemasa Morita in central midfield comes off for Sporting. He is replaced by a 20-year-old Greek international, Sotirios Alexandropoulos, who's in his first season at Sporting, having joined from Panathinaikos in
Sotirios
the summer. Sotirios for us, Leon. Yes, Son Heung-min is off, and Dejan Kulusevski. I think that's the obvious first change for Tottenham. They're at home against Leicester on Saturday. Kicks off at 5:30. A commentary here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and Son Heung-min, having started every game this season, comes off, and Dejan Kulusevski has 20 minutes or so to try and affect the game. So both managers making a change, playing their first cards of the evening. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. The ball is out for a Tottenham throw on the left. Antonio Conte tried to catch it. It slipped from his grasp. It bounced off the crossbar of the Tottenham dugout, back into his arms, and Tottenham have taken the throw. By the way, just looking on the team sheets, Ben Davies didn't get booked there for the complaints about the challenge. Just as the shot cut to the referee, I just thought I saw him tucking a yellow card back in his pocket. But Ben Davies certainly not happy. Referee took it on the chin, so it's one booking apiece. But actually, Morita, who got booked for Sporting, has now been taken off. Kane's given it away for Tottenham. Trincao evades the challenge of Højbjerg. That is, I was going to say, excellent defensive work from Harry Kane. It's a free kick gone to Sporting.
Yeah, he's just given it for the challenge before the one Harry Kane made by Højbjerg, who Trincao skipped past him. I think he nutmegged him, and Højbjerg maybe left a little arm out to slow his progress. The referee's given it as a foul. I think he just saw it's his leg. I think he just flicked his leg across. I don't think it was enough, if I'm being completely honest, but maybe it just gave Harry Kane that half a yard to get back and make the challenge he did.
We're into the last 20 minutes here in Lisbon. Studio-based commentary on 5 Live and BBC Sounds of Sporting against Tottenham, still 0-0. Nuno Santos for Sporting. Sorry, Leon.
I say these are the games, though, that just watch this attack.
Yeah, diagonal ball across field. Perisic is there to head it away. Richarlison is going to hold off Trincao. The ball's bouncing inside the Tottenham half. Højbjerg with a little trick to get away from Gonçalves. Good ball out to the right as well. Kulusevski, his first involvement of the evening. He's played well when he's been given the chance for Tottenham this season. And he's certainly a man who has a goal in him. Here's Perisic. Perisic sees Emerson Royal making ground on the right. Chests that crossfield pass down. Does Emerson Royal. Kulusevski gives it back to him. Momentum has slowed. Cross comes in. Not a good one. Straight at the goalkeeper. Nowhere near any Tottenham attacker. And Antonio Adan makes a very comfortable catch.
Yeah, Antonio Conte just trying to get his front end to start firing. It just hasn't been as fluent as we've seen them in the past from Spurs. There's been misplaced passes. There's been miscommunication. And as a midfielder behind it, when you've been involved in games like this, that you have to make sure that, yes, you might not go on to win the game because your front men aren't firing, but you make sure you don't lose them. You get to 75 minutes in a game, it's 0-0, you keep it tight.
Oh, great run by Kulusevski on the right, sliding challenge on him. I think the ball might have been running behind for a goal kick, but Mateusz Reis was already committed, and that is a free kick to Tottenham, right down by the byline on the right-hand side, and Mateusz Reis is booked as well.
He's claiming his innocence, but he certainly made contact with Kulusevski. It's a clear foul. Yeah, and I agree, it's a yellow card as well, halting the progress of Kulusevski as he stepped into the penalty. He showed really good strength there, Kulusevski, as well as the skill and ability to take it past both Sporting defenders, and he's won a free kick just outside the box, right on the byline, in a very dangerous position.
Francisco Trincao now coming off for Sporting. Paulinho, who's a Portuguese striker, is coming back from injury at the start of this season, so this is a third consecutive substitute appearance for him this season. 14 goals to his name last season, so that's a change up top for Sporting, but he's immediately run into a defensive position. Now Son previously was on the set piece delivery. Perisic is going to take this with his left foot, and it's one of these short corner ones down by the dead ball line on the right. Perisic holds one arm in the air, curls it in with his left foot to the far post, very nearly found Eric Dyer, headed away. Bentancur heads it to his left. Hojbjerg gives it straight back to him. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Sporting out of shape here. Kulusevski cross in and Richarlison heads it wide. The angle was really difficult. The cross came into the near post and Richarlison was just trying to flex the neck muscles to guide the header on target. He couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, really difficult one. Kulusevski found himself in a brilliant position, and I think he's actually trying to filter it towards the middle or back goal, and I think maybe he just pulls it a touch, but Richarlison, as ever, finds himself in a good position. Just flicks it. He's trying to bring the ball from behind him with a header, flick it towards goal, but just can't quite create the angle.
Into the last 15 minutes of the game. Victoria Pilsen 0, Inter Milan 2, latest in the Champions League. That was the other 5:45 kick-off this evening. Liverpool Ajax in full on the way. Kicks off at 8 o'clock at Anfield. And this is Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham keep coming, keep attacking. Bentancur slightly lost control of it inside the Sporting half. Here's Alexandropoulos, the young Greek, on the ball in midfield. Nice pass forward from Inacio, 21-year-old defender. Then Alexandropoulos under pressure, but free kick already conceded by Tottenham. Free kick for Sporting on the halfway line. That's Paulinho, the other substitute, who was caught. So Tottenham have to get back and defend. Coates. Remember, Tottenham unbeaten so far this season. 5 wins and 2 draws in all competitions. Emerson Royale's won the ball off Gonçalves. Kulusevski is away. Gonçalves goes down, claims he was caught by a Kulusevski arm. The referee's not bought it. Emerson Royale goes down inside the penalty area, but the flag has gone up, I think, for an offside before Emerson Royale went down. Gonçalves remains down, and I think all that we're going to see here is a free kick to Sporting.
Well, I'm interested to see what he's actually given it for. I think it's the offside, but if it is, there was a ricochet in there, so it wasn't quite clear to see who the ball ricocheted off first. So I'm sure the referee will check it if it is. Well, there's a chance that that they will have to check for a free kick. Kulusevski did brilliant the way he ran with the ball. And you're just seeing it was Ugarte who the ball came off as Kulusevski came inside, but did the ball then ricochet back off Kulusevski as he cut inside? I think maybe it did, which means that Emerson Royale will be probably inches offside as we see it back, which is unfortunate for Spurs that ball came ricocheting back off Kulusevski. The referee would have had to make a big decision then.
It is a free kick to Sporting. 12 minutes plus a bit of added time to be played. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0 in the Champions League this evening. And Richarlison continues to chase. Inacio gets the ball away from him. Sporting have it inside their own half. Kulusevski now on the chase for Tottenham, but Sporting have played around the Tottenham press, and here they come. Marcus Edwards drops deep on the ball. Well won by Ben Davies. Kane back to Hojbjerg, just gets away from him. Tottenham are looking to counter with Kulusevski in space on the right-hand side. Now it's Sporting's turn to come at Tottenham. Midway inside their half, wide on the left. The ball is played back into midfield. It's the Uruguayan Ugarte with the socks rolled down. Back to fellow Uruguayan Coates. Now Mateusz Reis is just creeping forward for Sporting. Ball is played wide to the left again. They're trying to sort of drag Tottenham out, and Tottenham are steadfastly staying where they are.
Yeah, because they've not had much luck trying to find a way through the centre of this Spurs team. Spurs in Bentancur and Hojbjerg in particular have marshalled the middle of the field and that space in front of Spurs' back three really well, and Sporting have found it difficult in those areas.
Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Marcus Edwards, a little pocket of space for him in the inside right channel. Quick pass wide to Porro. Porro gets the cross in from the byline. Hugo Lloris not put off by the leap of Dyer at the near post. Catches it cleanly behind him, slings it out over onto Richarlison, who's moving up to full speed here. Sliding challenge on him. Last touch might have come off Richarlison. No. Throw in for Tottenham on the left. 10 minutes to play, 0-0. Full commentary on Liverpool Ajax to come here on 5 Live. And if you're on the move this evening, BBC Sounds app, you can always get continuous coverage on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra on there. Emerson Royale, bouncing ball, heads it to his right. Just remind you of the Liverpool team news in a second as well, because of course they're trying to respond to the heavy defeat in Naples last week in their second group game this evening. Let's just see what Sporting can do with this, though. They've come back to their goalkeeper, Adan plays it to his left to Mateusz Rice. Here's Alexandropoulos. Sporting trying to work it out on the left-hand side. That's good from Nuno Santos. Gets away from Emerson Royale, who decides to try and drag him back, and I think Emerson Royale is going to get booked. So your Liverpool lineup tonight: Alisson in goal. Andrew Robertson we knew was out of the game, so it's Alexander-Arnold, Tsimikas as the wing-backs, Matip and Van Dijk the two centre-backs, Harvey Elliott, Fabinho and Thiago as a midfield three, Salah, Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota as a starting 11 for Liverpool. Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton with the commentary at Anfield this evening for you here on 5 Live. It remains Sporting 0, Tottenham 0, and we have got 9 minutes plus a bit of added time at the end of this game to see if one of the teams can try and force a winner. Porro plays infield to Ugarte. Ooh, Kulusevski at full stretch, nearly cut that out. It was Kane, in fact, at full stretch, who nearly got a toe end on the ball. Coates plays it to the left for Sporting. Back to Mateusz Rice. Rice to Inacio in the silky green and white hoop shirt and the black shorts, wide to Porro. Porro decides to take Perisic on the outside. Dummies the cross. Perisic not buying that. Last touch, came off Perisic's left boot. That's a corner to Sporting, 0-0, Leon Osman.
Yeah, these are the moments, I mentioned it moments ago, that you need concentration levels high. You need your leaders to be barking orders, because Spurs are giving the ball away more than I've seen them in recent weeks, and you know, they're finding themselves 0-0 in a game they could potentially be ahead at with less than 10 minutes to go. They don't want to give anything away. They don't want to be defeated in this game, a game they could possibly have won. So make sure you do everything right. You've got your leaders and your concentration is good.
All the attacking players back to defend the set-piece. Sporting corner, headed away by Dyer. Shot driven in by Nuno Santos. Bentancur is in the way for Tottenham. The ball comes flying off his right boot. Tottenham trying to reorganise. The danger man's on it for Sporting. Marcus Edwards. That is not dangerous, though. That's an overhit cross that is ballooned out of play for a goal kick to Tottenham. So if it finishes as a draw, you'll have Sporting on 4 points, Tottenham on 4 points, and then Marseille and Frankfurt meet tonight at the Stade Velodrome. Kicks off at 8 o'clock. Ian Dennis will keep you updated with all the goals as they go in, which he's very used to doing. Programme in the Championship, League One and League Two tonight as well. So a busy night for Ian at Anfield. Tottenham inside their own half. Højbjerg on the ball. Up the middle of the pitch he goes. That is easily cut out by Ugarte, who's got a lot of speed and strength left, and that is cynical from Højbjerg, who comes flying across, throws himself at the man and not the ball, and quite rightly goes into the book and actually concedes a free kick in a dangerous position.
Yeah, but it was also a dangerous moment then for Spurs. Højbjerg knew exactly what he was doing. He gave the ball away very sloppily, just trying to squeeze a pass that wasn't necessary at this moment of the game. And once he gave the ball away, you saw the Sporting players come to life, the speed at which they reacted to try and create an opportunity themselves. So Højbjerg probably right in trying to make that foul to make sure his teammates can get behind and defend this free kick.
I have to say that noise sounds intimidating at the moment inside the Estadio José Alvalade. Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. The Sporting fans sensing an opportunity late in the game. We're into the 85th minute. Free kick for Tottenham to defend. Tottenham holding the line on the edge of their penalty area. Ben Davies just having a little word with the referee about something he's not happy with. Marcus Edwards is lurking on the right-hand corner of the box, but Richarlison's got that covered. Mateusz Rice and Ben Davies are the two who are sort of trying to almost get a hold of each other and then slapping each other's arms to make sure that each other can't do that. It's the usual push and shove and niggle inside the penalty area ahead of a set piece like this one. Free kick then. Pedro Porro takes it. Lloris, long way off his line. Good take for Tottenham.
Brilliant goalkeeping, it really was. Came a long way off his line considering the height on that free kick, and it was exactly what his teammates needed. There was a bit of nervousness about Tottenham in the way they were lining up on the edge of their penalty area there. You're right, there was a lot of grabbing, a lot of talking, trying to encourage each other, but brilliant from Hugo Lloris, just took the pressure completely off his team there.
Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Not long left for either of these teams to try and find a winner that would mean so much to them in the early stages of this group. Dyer back to Lloris. Lloris closed down quickly up towards Richarlison. That is a brilliant header flicked onto Kulusevski. Kulusevski pokes it to his left. Perisic coming forward for Tottenham. Step over from him. Porro slides in. Can't quite stop him. Perisic looks to get it through to Kulusevski. Ugarte is back there. Ugarte right down by the corner flag in the right back position. Slightly weak clearance. Højbjerg chests it down to Perisic. Back to Højbjerg. Højbjerg finds Kulusevski. Kulusevski with the cutback. Could be a chance for Tottenham. Ball is pinging around inside the Sporting box and eventually bounces its way to safety. Now Sporting come on the counter. Gonçalves trying to get away from Bentancur. Bentancur and Emerson Royal team up to stop him. Free kick Tottenham. They've taken it quickly. And all of a sudden this game has burst into life late on in the game. Richarlison, good strength on the left-hand side. Perisic now starts to make the run on the outside. Richarlison uses him as a decoy, and his right foot floats it across the face of the box. It's too far. Emerson Royal can't catch it. Throw in for Sporting, 0-0.
Well, the reason it came to life because both teams were trying to counter the counter. They saw an opportunity to get in behind their opposition, which hasn't been there that often this evening, but as has been the case, why it's 0-0. Both teams giving the ball away, both teams sloppy. Richarlison not using the overlap from Perisic, tucking inside. It was a really tired crossfield pass, giving the ball away, and both teams have been guilty of that.
Sporting 0, Tottenham 0. Coming into the 88th minute of the game. Long ball forward, Gonçalves chases, Lloris is outside his penalty area, can't pick that up, under pressure, hacks it away with his left foot and wants to get back to his goal as quickly as he can. Throwing for Sporting on the right. Gonçalves thought about taking it quickly, decides to leave it for Marcus Edwards. Inter Milan look like they're going to get their first win in Group C this evening. 2-0 up away to Victoria Pilsen, that one in the closing stages. Here's Pedro Porro. Porro to Ugarte again. Tottenham needing to keep the concentration levels high as Sporting come at them late in the game. Lay off to Alexandropoulos, who overhits the first time ball with his right foot. Nuno Santos sails over his head and goes out for a throw into Tottenham. So Marcus Edwards came extremely close to scoring with what would have been a sensational goal just before half-time. Tottenham certainly had the better of it in the early stages of the second half. Trying to think of their best chance in the game, Leon. The
Richarlison's header, Emerson Royal from that Harry Kane free kick, where I felt he probably should have done better. But there's been a lot of nearly moments for Spurs, and that's just not been enough really to find the opening goal. They've had a few times the ball's flashed across the face and you're wondering if a striker could have got on the end of it, but both teams have been guilty of being sloppy within this game, and you know, at the moment if one of them could nick it they'd be delighted, but I think they both take the draw.
Perisic curling cross. Nuno Santos had a hack at it, got lucky, was able to go and collect his missed clearance, beats Emerson Royal to the ball and keeps possession for Sporting. Walking pace now inside their own penalty area. Sebastian Coates on the ball, less than half an hour away from kick-off at Anfield this evening. Liverpool against Ajax on its way here with Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Here's Coates, little 1-2 with Mateusz Rice. Now to the 20-year-old Greek Alexandropoulos. Nice play from Sporting, good build-up. Little back heel to Alexandropoulos again. Turn from him. Floats it high to the right. Pedro Porro controls it. Perisic can't stop him. Porro on the move. It's opening up. Left-footed cut. Oh, what a save from Hugo Lloris at full stretch. Absolutely brilliant from the Tottenham captain, because I think that was heading for the back of Tottenham's net. It's behind for a corner.
I think most people in the stadium and most people watching this on TV think it's a goal. It was brilliant from Porro. Got a bit fortunate at the very start, rolling the tackle from Perisic, but from that moment cuts inside from the edge of the penalty, bends it, it looks like it's going into the top corner. Hugo Lloris starts his dive and halfway through changes hands, which he's going to make the save, realising how far away it is, how high it is, and he's at full stretch to make that unbelievable moment to tip it around the post.
He has made 2 incredible saves for Tottenham. Free kick, corner in, and it's headed in, and it looks like it's a late winner from Paulinho for Sporting. Tottenham have gone to sleep right at the end of the game, the 90th minute. They can't defend the corner. It came in at pace. Paulinho flicks the header beyond Hugo Lloris, who's made 2 fabulous world-class saves in the game, but he's seen that one flash into the back of his net, and it looks like Tottenham might be beaten in Lisbon. Sporting 1, Tottenham 0.
Yeah, desperately frustrating for Tottenham Hotspur, for Antonio Conte, for the Tottenham players to have played in this manner, to have known they've been sloppy. They could have stepped the game up. The game was there if they would have been better in possession of the ball tonight. They've given the ball away far too many times, and in those moments you have to make sure you get through the game with a nil. I mentioned keep your concentration levels high, don't concede, don't give away set pieces, because you put yourself under so much pressure. It's a brilliant ball in, just like the ones we described from Son in the first half, aiming it towards that front post, and it's just a flick from Paulinho, just gets in behind Harry Kane, and it's just a touch, and he guides it towards that back post. Lloris, who's made some brilliant saves, just watches it go by. He can't react quick enough, he can't reach it as it aims into that far corner, and Spurs, they got themselves to blame in my opinion, find themselves a goal behind into injury time.
90th minute goal from Paulinho, the striker on his way back from injury. Tall striker, got the run on Emerson Royal and Harry Kane, unsavable for Hugo Lloris, who would look like he kept the point intact with the magnificent save from Porro. But Sporting lead Tottenham by a goal to nil. We're into 3 minutes of added time at the end of the game. We've already had 90 seconds of that. Sporting are making a double change as well. Artur Gomez is coming on, as is Ricardo Esgaio in midfield. Nuno Santos has taken his time to leave the field. And if Sporting get the win, then they are the ones in a fantastic position after 2 games in the group, because it will be 2 wins out of 2 without a goal conceded. Tottenham looking to try and get an equaliser late on. Slice clearance falls to Perisic, wide on the left, wants to get that ball in early. In it comes, headed away, falls to Bentancur. Ball bouncing around on the edge of the Sporting box, and they're able to get it away. So the stadium is alive with noise and celebrations and whirling green and white scarves and flags in front of us. It's just gone up on the screen. Paulinho, first goal of the season for him in the 90th minute. And they're at it again, Sporting attacking down the left-hand side. Oh, and they've won the game with a fabulous individual goal late on. The substitute, Artur Gomez, dribbling in from the left wing. Little step over, came in on the angle, slides it past Hugo Lloris, and Tottenham have conceded goals in the 90th and 93rd minutes of the game. Sporting 2, Tottenham 0.
Well, it's a brilliant bit of play, it really is. We spoke of the class and the ability to run with the ball that Edwards showed in the first half. Well, you're right, this was shown again by Artur Gomez. Find himself pretty much with his heels on the touchline, out on that left-hand side. It's a good first touch, and from that moment, he's got Spurs defenders backing off. He just runs at Emerson Royal. Eric Dyer's asking someone to go over. Bentancur tries to get close, but he drops his shoulder on Romero, nutmegs Emerson Royal, and then when you wonder, has he got the composure to find a finish? He does. He just slides it past Lloris. Again, can't really do much about it from such distance. He just has to watch it go past his left hand and his left foot. I think it actually goes through his legs when I see it again. It's a brilliant bit of play from Artur Gomez to seal the game.
Great goal, great finish. That is his debut for Sporting. Former Santos player, once Pele's club, signed from Estoril. Scored 2 goals in 28 appearances last season. First appearance for Sporting, off the bench he comes, and right at the end of the game seals the victory for Sporting, and he is beside himself with joy. We're watching him at the moment. The full-time whistle has blown, and a little bit like the images of Richarlison last week when he was moved to tears by his 2 goals in the win against Marseille, it means exactly the same for this Brazilian, Artur Gomez. Antonio Conte is on and shaking his head because Tottenham probably had the better of the game, Leon Osman just about, but they've conceded too late on. They've been beaten.
Yeah, well, they had more opportunities, I'd say. I mean, I'm not seeing the stat count at the final stat count, but they had more opportunities, but they give up some really good chances. And we mentioned that Edwards had that big chance in the first half. There was some really terrific saves in there from from Hugo Lloris. So they'll be kicking themselves in that way. It's just that they felt in control of this game. If they'd have been a bit more, if they showed a bit more quality going forward, if they'd been a bit more assured, they may have won the game. But that's not always the case. But in those moments, you don't concede, you don't lose the game, you make sure you get out of there with at least a 0-0. And then they went on to concede that chance from the goal, from the corner kick, and I'm sure the manager Conte will be very frustrated.
Just seen Hugo Lloris, Kelly, applauding the Tottenham fans. 2 world-class saves from him, one late in the first half that kept it at 0-0. The other one from Porro late in the game, that went behind for the corner, and then Tottenham undone. 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of the game. Sporting 2, Tottenham 0. It means Tottenham have work to do in the group. Double-header coming up against Eintracht Frankfurt.